Hi everyone, Internet Vicious Book Reader here. Today I want to talk about One Track Mind, true story about life-changing songs edited by Christian Bodi and Adam Shafin Fossi. Among art, music I think is one of the most universally liked art. It's such a big thing that a person not liking any music will be considered weird because most people have certain types of music that they recognize from certain points of their life. Whether it's popular music, some indie band music that only a few people like, some classical or some jazz, the opening theme of your favorite show, soundtrack from a game or a movie that you really like. Most people just tie their past to different types of sound that they will carry throughout their lives. A few of these for me are Signature Soundtrack, a classic called hit JRPG whose book I've reviewed on the channel. It's a game I played a lot with my closest relatives at the time where life is more on the normal side of my parents. I wasn't good enough at playing the game at the time, so I asked for my relative help to finish the game so I could watch the ending. But each time my relative beat or almost beat the final boss, my parents picked me up with the worst timing each time, so I kept missing the ending of the game. I played it myself when I was much older, but that memory and the sound of the game by Yoshinori Mitsuda remain. Then another sound that is significant for me is the opening theme of Friends. As I mentioned in my review of Matthew Perry's memoir, it's the only show I watched for years, and since I watched it on DVD, the opening is unskippable. So as a byproduct, the opening theme song with the damn clap also become a significant part of my life. Now that I have somehow plugged two of my other videos, this book, One Track Mind, is a live performance that is similar to stand-up or TED Talks, where a few people will go to the stage and then tell their life story on stage about how a single track or a few tracks helped them change their life. I've never heard of the show before the book and I haven't listened to any of them, but a few of those stage performances is selected and then written down in this book. The book itself is written by separating it into 4 sections or 4 chapters, which give them more direction and makes them feel more connected to each other. The first chapter, for example, Becoming, is how a music helps someone make life-changing decision. Most of it or some of it is more career-wise, like the opening of Jemima Foxtrot's, telling her experience with music, how she listened to Amy Winehouse through CDs, etc., and her experience with her band. She turns into a poet in her adults from her love of lyrics. Then Barry Adamson, a pop and rock musician, chose to become a musician that goes on to work even with Depeche Mode because of his experience in his high school party. But not all of them are fun, wholesome experience. Some of them have bad experiences that are associated with music. Still in the same chapter, the editor of the book, Christian Brody, relived his really bad experience as a movie salesman. He was overhyping a movie that he only saw the trailer as the next best thing because the trailer looks really good with Kelly Clarkson's song at the end. The movie turns out to be so bad that he got out of selling movie once he could. And then Steve Chapman got into drugs because of Cy Barrett. Then chapter 2, if the chapter name Belonging doesn't make it obvious, is about finding a place or a community to belong to. It even opened with Prasanna Puwararanja, a Sri Lankan born in UK. He felt out of place in a country where he's neither Asian nor Scottish, but found solace from Hamish Henderson's song Freedom Come All Ye. And just like the last chapter, the story in this chapter also varied, with the next one from Ingrid Oliver is just talking about her finding joy and community in a Zumba class. The third chapter, Beloving, is, as you can guess from the title, is about love, a big part of music. It opened with a very personal story from Rosa Dechler about her father and their family bond from his stories. This is a weird chapter with some stories felt like they belong to the second chapter. For example, in YLM's story as a Nigerian that moved to London and couldn't find a place that he belonged there even among the black people in Dublin because he's not cool enough for them. There is some element of romance in his talking about music soul child whose music contrasted with the braggadocio of ignorant hip hop, but this feels more like chapter 2 material. And there's even a story that feels like they belong way back in the first chapter, like Richard McDougall's story about You'll Never Walk Alone, the theme song to the football club Liverpool, or Nicolas Yusuf's story about his love for Prince songs that make him unfortunately in his youth try to act and look black complete with dreadlocks. This chapter feels more like all over the place instead of Beloving, but fortunately the last chapter, Believing, is back on track. I think this chapter is about moving forward after a painful experience. It opened with Joe Dunthorne reliving his experience with tinnitus, the ear problem that caused the ear to hear a high-pitched noise and how he learned to cope with it at Apec Twins music. Stella Devi then tells a very vulnerable moment of her life where she had to deal with grief, losing her father, losing her babies, and her experience fighting breast cancer. There's also Alex Romeo sharing how she had to deal with the aftermath of her husband cheating on her and then her divorce. The book are filled with various kind of these stories about people's personal experience with music. Most of these stories are very light reading because they are so short with a few of them barely a couple pages, but it's kind of fun reading through these experiences and maybe see the crossover on how they all had an experience that they glue together with the music they listen to. Whether it's an experience they look back happily or look back with a bit of dread. The book do almost have a similar vibe with the Celebrity Mental Health Stories collection that I've reviewed. I think it's because just like that book, this one is also only filled with people who work at media, either in music or in writing, which I guess helped the writing more easy to understand since they all learn how to talk. But it do get that same feeling that these people are from similar class, and after a while it makes the story kinda repetitive. But this book is nowhere near as bad as that Celebrity Mental Health collection. It had more direction with the 4 chapters and the story have more varieties in them, so while it can get repetitive, it's not to the point where it feels like you're just trading the same water back and forth. Except maybe chapter 3 where it feels like they just play stories unrelated to the chapters. It's a great book to see how music impacted people's life in different ways, even if the story on the book can feel like stories from upper class society, but some of them maybe you can relate to. Music can and did have an awful impact to the world where a lot of people who listen to them can somehow think that having taste in music is a replacement for their personality, like that Grammy voter who somehow everyone seems to agree that the old white guy is making a fool out of himself with his own opinion. Then there's the celebrity worship that makes people see musicians as more than just another human being. Either they cannot be cringe at all or their flaws are wholly ignored because they made some good songs. And not to mention the awful culture that the industry works on with how infamously predatory music label operates. But despite this element of shadiness, music is also such an amazing form of expression that people can connect with on somehow more personal level. It is so important that other more visual media that is not even musical, like Cowboy Bebop or Nier, are inseparable from its music. And music have this feeling like they're part of a life-saving experience that you can see whether it's from mainstream artists like Mac Miller or from musicians like Lily Pichu that only releases singles on only sometimes. There is enough people who is impacted by her song to a point to make their own version of the song. Part of it is for views, but still, my point is from music, people can find inspiration or strength or both. And the book, albeit not too deeply, managed to share some of this experience and emotion on a variety of success. I still think it might be interesting to see what will happen if the floor is open to people who might not be as good with words as the kind of people that the book collected. So it adds people with different kind of stories, heavier kind of stories, but overall it is still quite an enjoyable read. I give this a 3.5. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.